Hello everyone, my name's Alexis. Welcome to class today. Make sure you have a block or two, and you might also want a blanket nearby for under the knees or under the hips as we go through this Yin Yoga class. To begin, come to a comfortable seat. I'm starting kneeling, and wherever you are, just bring your hands to heart center and focus on your breath. Taking in deep inhales and exhales to center yourself in this moment. We're going to spend the next 40 minutes or so taking stock of the year that has passed. I love to do yearly reflection and see where I've been and how far I've come. We're going to do a little bit of that today as we move through different Yin Yoga poses. We'll spend about 2 poses or so contemplating different questions. But for now, just let yourself relax onto the mat, breathing deeply. There's nowhere else you have to go, nowhere else you have to be. These 40 minutes are carved out for you. You can treat this class as a container for reflection and perhaps some dreaming of what the future year could hold as well. We're going to come into our first pose, toe stretch. So you'll come into a kneeling position with your toes curled underneath you. You want to make sure your baby toes are uncurled as well. And you're going to sit back onto your heels. Now, some people can just sit upright like I am, but if this is too intense, feel free to lean forward, put your hands on the mat to alleviate some of the pressure and tension on your toes. And then just relax here. While we're here and in the next pose as well, I want you to think about what your favorite things from this past year were. And you can think of a top 3 or more if more comes to mind. But just spend the next few minutes or so thinking about what your favorite parts of the year were. We're going to start on a happy note. And we'll be in this pose for about 2 minutes. Enjoy. Take one more deep breath in. And exhale it out. Release your toes. Give them a little bit of a wiggle. And we'll come into our next Yin Yoga pose, which is ankle stretch. We're going to lift our knees off the mat, bringing our hands behind us. So we're stretching the front of our shins, the front of our feet, and you don't need to lift your knees very high here. It's okay if they're not very far off the ground, and it's okay too if you need to rest your knees back on the ground as well. Sometimes just leaning back onto your hands behind you is enough of a stretch. But get yourself comfy here, and just continue to let yourself think about the happy memories that you had this year. Take another deep breath in and exhale it out. Release back onto your knees. And we're going to come forward onto all fours and then press your feet back for a quick little calf stretch on either side, stretching out the soles of our feet. And then we're going to come all the way down to the mat. So I'm going to go through plank and chaturanga myself all the way down to the mat. But either way, however you want to go, just come to lie down. We're going to come into our lying chest opener. So bring your left arm so the elbow is directly straight out from your shoulder socket. And then you're very gently going to roll over onto your left side. I like to put my right foot behind me as a kickstand and press into the mat with my right hand. And if you don't go very far here, that's totally fine. The purpose of this pose is not to go super far. The muscles in our shoulders are very delicate. So be as gentle as you can here. And while we're in this pose on both sides, on a less happy note, kindly dwell and think on what you wish had gone differently. Don't pass any judgment here. Oftentimes we don't have control over the things that went differently than how we hoped. But just take note of what those things were. Maybe if you like, try categorizing them in your life. But again, no judgment here. No judgment zone. Very gently roll back onto your belly, bringing your feet back together. And we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So your right elbow will come straight out from your right shoulder and very gently roll towards your right side. We're not completely going onto our side here. That would be a little too much for our shoulder. And continue thinking about what you wish had gone differently. Take one more deep breath in. And very gently roll back onto your belly. I'm going to press up onto my knees and grab my blanket because the next pose we're coming into is frog pose. Now you can stay on your belly if you don't need a blanket, but I do because I have sensitive knees. So come back onto your belly once you've got your blanket situated. And we're going to bring our left knee so it's directly out from our left hip. Our left ankle is directly in line with our knee. We're basically making a 90-degree angle with our hip, knee, ankle. And then you'll either stay up in Sphinx pose on your hands and your arms or lower all the way down, forehead to the mat. Just relax into this pose here. If you like, putting a pillow underneath the chest might be really comfy. And while we're here on this side and the next, I want you to think about what you achieved. What did you finish? And this doesn't have to be a big professional goal. It could be anything. It could be school related. It could be maybe you set a goal in your romantic relationship and you achieved that goal. Maybe you set a financial goal and you achieved it. It could be something small. Maybe you are proud of the fact that you started writing poetry, or maybe you tried out a new sport. Whatever it is, again, no judgment, but just take note of the things that you're proud of, the things that you achieved or finished this year. Go ahead and take one more deep breath in. And I'm going to press up to tabletop pose. Give my hips a little wiggle, and then I'll switch my blanket to the other side and come back to your belly. And we'll do the same thing on the right leg. So bring your right knee so it's directly out from your right hip, right ankle directly in line with your knee, and relax your forehead down to the mat, giving yourself a little bit of time to celebrate your achievements this year. Go ahead and take one more deep breath in. I'm going to come up to tabletop to bring my knee back. You might want to move your blanket out of the way and come back to your belly and bring your left foot as close as you can to your bum. Grab it with your left hand and relax onto your mat for your quad stretch. If this is too much, you can use a strap around your foot, and that's totally fine. Just relax into this easy stretch. While we're here in this pose on this side and the next, think about what you hope to continue in the new year. Maybe you started a new habit, created new traditions, whatever those are. Think about what you're hoping and looking forward to continuing or doing again in the upcoming year. Take one last breath in this pose. Release your foot and lower it back to the mat with control, and then bend your right knee, reaching for your foot with your right hand and relaxing down on the mat. You can have your forehead down on the mat, or you can look to one side or the other. I prefer looking to the left on my left foot and the right on my right foot. It's a little less pressure on my forehead, but you do whatever is most comfortable for you. And gently release that right foot with control and press yourself up to a seated position. If you want, you can sit on top of a blanket to lift your pelvis up a little bit. Again, whatever's comfortable. And we're going to come into butterfly. So bring the soles of your feet together, knees apart. You can always have your feet further away from your groin. That might be a little more comfortable. Or bring them closer to your groin to really get a nice inner thigh stretch. And then just relax over your feet. I like to keep my palms up here as a reminder to not really push myself further in this pose than I really need to. And there's no question or reflection in this pose. Just enjoy the stretch here. Go ahead and take one last breath in, and then very gently press yourself up to a straight spine. Hug your left foot into the groin. Extend the right leg out to the side for half butterfly, and we're just going to pivot our shoulders so they're directly over our leg and fold over that extended right leg. If you want to block underneath your head, by all means, do so. And while we're in this pose on the right and the left side, go ahead and reflect on what you want to let go of for next year. So the last question was reflecting on what we want to bring into the year, what we want to continue. In this moment, think about what you don't want to bring with you into the next year, what you want to let go of. And that could be attitudes, it could be emotions, it could be traditions, whatever that is. Just spend some time thinking about that. Take one last deep breath in this pose, and then use your hands to gently press yourself up. And we'll switch legs. So your right foot comes into the groin, left foot extends, turn your shoulders over the left leg and fold. Relax over the left leg. Thinking about what you do not want to carry into the next year with you, what you want to let go of. Take one last deep breath here. And again, use your hands to gently press yourself up to a straight spine. And then we're going to extend both legs out for our straddle pose. This is a lot. This is a fairly advanced pose. So if you want to come into butterfly, you can, or like I said, extend both legs out for straddle pose. You're welcome to stay straight, seated straight up, or you can fold forward. And I love to use blocks underneath my forehead here to help me release a little bit more in my hips and my groin and my pelvis. And again, no question here, just relax into the pose. Take one last breath in this pose. And very gently use your hands to press yourself up to a straight spine. You can move the blocks out of the way or keep them nearby if you want to use them on the next pose. We're going to come into deer pose next, which is one of my favorites, but we haven't done it much together. So bring your right leg, so your right calf is directly in front of you. Your left knee will fit into your right foot. You're kind of making a 90-degree with your legs. You will lengthen through the spine and then twist to the right, folding over that right leg. If you can go all the way down to the floor, by all means go down to the floor, or you can prop yourself up on blocks, or you can just twist with an upright spine, whatever is comfortable here. And while you're here, here's another fun reflection question. How do you want to celebrate special events? How did you celebrate anything this past year? And how do you want to celebrate upcoming events, whether those are anniversaries or birthdays or other significant events in your life? Go ahead and take one more deep breath in. And on your exhale, gently press yourself back up, coming back to center, and we'll switch legs. So the left calf comes directly in front of you, parallel to your mat. Right knee comes beside you into your left foot. And then you'll twist to the left, either staying upright or folding over the left thigh. Go ahead and take one last breath here. And then gently press yourself up to a straight spine. Swing your legs around. And we're going to come into fish pose. So set up your blocks like I am here. I like one long ways down my spine, about kind of mid-back. Ladies, this would be where your brow line is. And then I like to wiggle the other block either on the middle setting or the highest setting underneath my head. And you can bend your knees, relax your, to give your low back a little bit of a release, or you can extend your legs long, whatever is comfortable for you in this fish pose. And while you're here in fish pose, relax into the mat. And I want you to think about what you're grateful for from this past year. And it can be big or small, whatever comes to mind. But try and find at least 3 things. Go ahead and take one last breath here. And when you're ready, gently wiggle your elbows underneath you and use your core and the strength of your arms to press yourself up so you can move the blocks out from underneath you, out of your fish pose. Moving carefully here. Fish pose is a pretty intense back bend. Come back to lying down for Shavasana. And you can do Shavasana with your legs bent or legs extended, whatever is most comfortable for you. Today, I'm going to leave you in Shavasana. Feel free to stay as long as you need. But until next time, have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you again on the mat very soon.